Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 1. Table mic 1.
Table mic 1. Okay.
Check 1, 2.
So that's number 3.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 2. Check
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Table mic 3. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 3. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 3. Table mic 4. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Table mic 4.
Yep.
And final table mic. Table mic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Table mic 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep, gotcha. All right, and then this is remote mic 1. Okay, that one's working. All right, and we'll try this one out. This one is mic number 2. Okay, cool. And then I don't need these channels over here, I don't think.
Hello to everyone in the live stream. We will be starting shortly. Thank you.
So,
Hold up. Don't cause trouble.
No, I know.
Do you know how raise this?
At least 2,000.
we don't even need peace and quiet to start, everyone. Welcome to an alliance of troublemakers for the oppressors. Hello, everyone. World Liberty Congress is an organization that united the dissidents, activists, leaders of movement from 56 authoritarian regimes. We had our first General Assembly at Lithuania. We were just preparing ourselves to get together and have election. But last year, we had our second General Assembly at Lithuania, where we united more than 400 dissidents, activists, former political prisoners, that they are here among you. And we had our first election. How ironic that many of us who were voting to elect the leadership members, that was the first time for all of us to experience fair and free election. But this year, there are going to be dozens of elections taking place across the globe. World Liberty Congress knows that. 15 of them are not fair and free election. We are here today, the members of Executive Council and Leadership Council from World Liberty Congress, to call for an end to dictatorship. We believe that from Russia to Venezuela to China to Africa, all the authoritarian regimes and dictators are working together, helping together, backing together, voting for each other at the United Nations. They are using and hijacking United Nations to support each other and create Autocracy Inc. to expand their ideology. So the bad guys are united. The time has come for the good people from authoritarian regimes to be united as well, to expand our ideology, which is democracy, dignity, and freedom. So I don't want to talk long, but I want to give the floor to each member from different region, and then we are ready to answer questions. Thank you so much.
Karim.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karine Kanimba. I am from Rwanda. And a couple years ago, my father was kidnapped and taken to Rwanda. He was tortured, he was subjected to a sham trial, and he was imprisoned and convicted to 25 years in prison. The Rwandan dictatorship then turned against our family and started to try to repress us, to silence us from advocating for his release. Then we learned that there are hundreds of thousands of political prisoners in Rwanda, and we've decided to dedicate our lives to advocating for the freedom of political prisoners. At the World Liberty Congress, we have many people who have been political prisoners and who are fighting to free their loved ones from imprisonment. And that's why we have created this alliance, to call for the end of dictatorships, to call for an end of political imprisonment. And we are united in this fight, and I'm happy to be here, standing alongside these other freedom fighters.
Hello, good morning. My name is Leopoldo Lopez. I am from Venezuela, former political prisoner, spent 7 years in prison. And we are part of this alliance because we understand that autocrats are working together. I am very clear, like many Venezuelans, that the main reason why Maduro is still in power is because he has the support of Putin, of the mullahs from Iran, of Xi Jinping from China, and of many others. And we all came to the conclusion that this is something that is happening worldwide. There is a network of autocrats that they're supporting each other, they are collaborating at many different levels, and at the side of the democracy defenders, there is no such collaboration. And that's why the World Liberty Congress created this space for an alliance amongst democracy defenders, men, women who are willing to struggle for freedom and democracy. We believe that the main task that we have, those of us who believe in democracy, freedom, and human rights, is to transition from autocratic regimes to democracy. 70% of the world's population lives under some sort of autocracy. But the people who live in those countries want to be free. And we understand that working together is a way to permit that transition to democracy. So the World Liberty Congress today is an alliance of activist movements from 56 countries. Countries that are today under autocracy, but countries that have the people willing to struggle and to transition to democracy. The World Liberty Congress is a non-ideological alliance. It's an alliance that is oriented to action. We focus our efforts in providing support to grassroots activists, to nonviolent action, to speak out, to promote the possibility of visibility of political prisoners. There are more than 1 million political prisoners worldwide, and we understand that the main support we can give them is to provide support to the families and relatives of political prisoners. These are some of the things that the World Liberty Congress is committed to, but we understand that this network of democracy defenders, of people who are willing to walk towards freedom, is not enough. We need the support of governments, we need the support of businesses, we need the support of the public opinion, we need the support of any person that believes that freedom, democracy, and human rights are universal values to join this effort in reversing the trend of autocracy and promoting a fourth wave of democratization.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Gary Kasparov, and I don't think I have to remind you what's happening with political prisoners in Russia, in my country. I want just to follow what Leopoldo just said, is that World Liberty Congress is here in D.C. to send another message to the White House and to other capitals and leaders of the free world, that it's time to wake up and to understand that we're at war. Like this war or not, we're at war not because we wanted this war, but because the war was declared on us. Putin, Iranian mullahs, Xi Jinping, North Korea, Venezuela, Maduro's Venezuela, they're all at war. Putin is absolutely blunt about it. He recognized that this war will decide the future of our planet, because they want to abolish the international liberal order that has been established after fascism was defeated and was we hoped would be strengthened after the collapse of the evil empire, Soviet evil empire, back in 1991. Unfortunately, we see the evil coming back because we were complacent. We lost our vigilance. And the World Liberty Congress is here to remind that the battle for democracy doesn't end, and it's always, it's a task for a new generation to continue it, because democracy is always under threat. Yesterday we had an event in Reagan Institute. We're grateful for this opportunity to present our program, but I had a thought there, so that if Ronald Reagan was President of the United States, our meeting would take place in the White House. And I think it's very important, again, to recognize that we are indispensable allies for the leaders of the free world, who should become serious about their calls for democracy, for global democracy. And it's time to stop pretending that you can make compromises, you can make deals with Putins of this world, because again, this deal is not worth of paper where it's being written on. And we all recognize that it's whether it's Ukraine or Venezuela or Iran, and you go around the globe, or any African country, or China, Tibet. So we are facing the enemy that does not want a true compromise. The coexistence, unfortunately, it's not an option. So that's why we have to recognize in this war, we must win for the sake of the future of democracy and humanity. Thank you.
So before actually going to the rest of the coalition to speak, I want to invite you all to watch the video of our first General Assembly and think about it, the United Nations. Right now that we're talking here, the Vice President from Islamic Republic, one of the Islamic Republic officials, wearing full hijab, walking freely at the United Nations, meeting with the officials, while women in Iran and Afghanistan getting killed for the crime of being free and wanting to have an education, to have freedom to choose what they want to wear. So this is the situation of all of us. So I want you to watch to the video that shows you why the time has come for dissidents across the authoritarian regime to be united and call all the democracy to be as united as dictators as well. Where are we going to?
How are you to watch it?
Freedom is at risk. All over the world, there has been struggles for freedom, massive protests, tens of thousands of people.
We see war in the middle of Europe. We see military war in Africa. Our dictators are united, and this is the time that we, the freedom fighters, must get united as well.
We have so many differences, but we have one thing in common. We believe in freedom.
This is a historical moment. We are here to have fair and free election in our own country, to end dictators.
Today, we want that fight to be the fight of all.
United against dictators!
Freedom fighters! The World Liberty Congress is about bringing together like-minded people that are very different, but we have the heart and our commitment in one word: freedom.
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 Freedom. Freedom.
We gathered in Lithuania to approve our founding documents and to elect our first leadership council.
Today was my first time voting. I never done it before. That is the democracy that I dream of for the future.
Through the Freedom Academy, we're building and supporting grassroots democracy movements that are inspired in nonviolent action to promote and transition from autocracy to democracy.
The main focus of the Freedom Academy is to learn about nonviolence strategy, civil resistance, and community building.
The activities are designed to build connection, to share experiences, to be able to listen, and to be able to be listened to.
That's really the core of the movement.
Empowered by the use of new technologies to overcome the censorship and the financial barriers that are imposed by autocratic regimes.
Without financial freedom, there is no political freedom. And at the Freedom Academy, we train the activists in the most secure and advanced financial tools.
For me, as a freedom activist, the financial and monetary freedom is a must.
The World Liberty Congress provides support to activists.
They're here with a handbook to be the voice of political prisoners.
To continue the fight and to never give up.
Do not stop, keep fighting, and we will set them free.
Dictators work together to destroy democracy. We fight together for democracy and freedom.
And this is just the beginning.
We shall never surrender.
The World Liberty Congress is all about you.
The World Liberty Congress.
Today is March 12th. March 12th actually marks the 65th anniversary of the Tibetan women's uprising in Lhasa, Tibet. My name is Chimilamo Jashtile, everyone. I am a daughter of refugees. I am third generation stateless. I've never seen my own homeland. But we're here today because we're gathered for the fight for freedom and democracy. Why? I think about my homeland. Tibet just recently by Freedom House scored 0 out of 100 in terms of how free it is. You know, when we work together with fellow activists, we know there's almost 3 million Uyghurs in concentration camps. We were working together with Hong Kongers who saw the fall of democracy. But working together with just the Hong Kongers, the Taiwanese, and the Uyghurs and the Tibetans is not enough to tackle China, which is the elephant in the room. Everyone recognizes the threat that China is to the rest of the world. So it was a lot of saying and promises that we were getting from the international community. That was not enough. And what we did was we found World Liberty Congress. We have now a network of not just the typical entities or the alliances that are against China. We have now all of the world leaders, all of the activists from every corner of the world coming together and showing the true colors of the Chinese government. Not just the Chinese government, how Chinese government shares its tactics with Iran, Russia, and all the other autocrats and authoritarian regimes. And so here we are. The international community has given us a lot of promises, a lot of yes, sure, I'm sorry, I'm going to meet with our representatives because it's such a good opportunity. Maybe China is not a threat. Maybe we should start coming to dialogue with them. That's the only way we can move forward. No. It's a lot of promises, empty promises. It's time for action. And there's WLC, where World Liberty Congress comes in with action-oriented solutions that are being presented by the impacted communities. So here you are, international community. We're doing it. We're united against dictators. We're in it to fight for justice and freedom. Are you in? That's it.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Andrei Sannikov. I'm from Belarus. Former member of the government. I resigned in protest against the policy of dictator Lukashenko. Former political prisoner and wearing the image of my friend and colleague Nikolai Statkevich, who is the longest serving political prisoner in Belarus. He is serving his 12th year already in prison, and we haven't heard from him for more than a year. Neither his wife nor his relatives. We have alarming news that he might have been killed in prison, and we cannot confirm or find out about his
Whereabouts.
what is happening with him, his situation. You know, I'm very honored to be invited to join the World Liberty Congress and to be elected to the Leadership Council, because that is what is needed today. The democracy is being attacked for many years already, and the authoritarian regime keep proliferating, whereas democratic situations are keeping diminishing. So we need, I joined with honors this Liberty Congress because we need solidarity and we need enhancement of each other voices. They might not listen to the voices of Eswatini from Nicaragua, from Cuba, from Afghanistan, but they will not ignore the voice of World Liberty Congress when we stand for democracy, when we stand for human rights. And we refuse to be victimized. We're here to put dictators to court, to bring them to court, and then we will be witnesses of their crimes. And we will collect the witnesses and we will collect the evidence. You know, even the honest efforts that are not leading to victory, immediate victory, are necessary. Once I heard a famous Chinese dissident, poet, musician, Liao Yiwu, if I pronounce his name correctly, in Łódź, in Poland. And he said very right thing, that if not for Tiananmen, there would not be fall of Berlin Wall. Tiananmen was crushed, but the wall in Berlin fell down. So we're here to put an honest effort to bring every dictatorship down. And for this, we need the voice of each other, and we will speak with a very strong voice in support of democracy.
Thank you so much. So from Africa, members of leadership.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Carbon Beni. I come from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a big country in Central Africa. And we have nine neighbors country. And all the country are in the dictatorship, autocratic regime. And around the Africa, most of country in Africa, we are under the autocratic regime. You know, the Africa have the greatest quantity of young people. And in the future, many young people will come from Africa around the world. We will have the big percentage in Africa of young people. But that young people are living in the autocratic regime every day, and it's now more than 40 years. We have coup d'etat, we have dictatorship in Rwanda, in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, in Burkina Faso, and we have the big problem now with the Russia because of the situation in Mali, Burkina Faso, and in Central Republic, how to say it in English?
Central African Republic.
Central African Republic and another country. We joined World Liberty Congress to fight autocratic regime. That's why I joined it, and all my colleagues here from Eswatini, from Cameroon, from Rwanda, from Uganda, from Zimbabwe, we joined it to try to fight and to try to stop the progress of autocratic regime, of dictatorship in Africa and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So these were the members of Leadership Council. You are often used to see Xi from China, Putin from Russia, Khamenei from Iran, Maduro from Venezuela, and all the dictators together. This time, we are here to represent our countries. And we're not actually the only representative of our country, because we believe that there are different groups of oppositions in each countries that we represent. And that's why we are here to say that dictators are really good at dividing us, but the time for us come to be united as well. So we're ready to answer any questions.
What are some of the specific, What are some of the specific steps you're proposing? How will you achieve these goals? Thank you.
Yeah, so the first step is to come together. And the first goal that we set to ourselves was to come together at a global level. And today we have 56 countries represented. As you just saw, we had a General Assembly with over 300 delegates from 56 countries. And we came together in a way that it has not happened before. This is not a government-led initiative. This is an activist-led initiative. It's from the activists, by the leaders from autocratic countries. Just the fact that we are together, that we are understanding clearly that what we are facing in Belarus, in Tibet, in Iran, in Russia, in Rwanda, in the DRC, and in many other countries is the same struggle for freedom. That's the first step, and we have accomplished that. And then we are orienting our efforts to deepening our capacity to support the movements inside each one of our countries. How? Through nonviolent action training, through giving the possibility for these movements to strengthen their capacity in how to communicate effectively, how to get resources, and go beyond the financial apartheid bridge that is imposed by the regimes, giving them the capacity to speak out effectively. We also are focusing in advocating for each one of the countries in an effective way, to talk about political prisoners and the need to visibilize that this is a virus that is spreading, but also to support the families and relatives of political prisoners. And we don't want to stay at the level of the activists and the movements, because we understand that the youth in the struggle towards freedom in each one of our countries is critical. So we have already launched what we called the Youth Liberty Congress, that will be an alliance of young students and activists from autocratic countries that will also join efforts. And these are some of the many initiatives that we have with the World Liberty Congress.
Yes. You can introduce your media broadcasting as well if you want. But before he's getting ready, I want to say that we have to change the narrative in the West, because many times they're really shy away to say that Alexei Navalny, Narges Mohammadi, political prisoner from Belarus, from like all the authoritarian regimes, they are not victims. They are the warriors. They want an end for authoritarian regimes. Like I keep hearing from women from Iran, Afghanistan, in the Middle East, they say that. Change the narrative in the West. We want to have secular democracy. These government cannot be reformed by elections. So that's why, because the West is going to face elections, we're here actually to change the narrative and ask the leaders of democratic country to stop legitimizing the fake elections. Thank you so much.
I'm video on international TV. The heads of the intelligence communities are testifying today at Congress, yesterday at the Senate, today at the House. CIA, FBI director, DNI director, they extensively talked about the threats that are right now they're perceived from terrorist groups, sending terrorists inside the United States through our southern borders in forms of refugees from Iran, from Syria, from Venezuela, from all these other countries that pose a threat to the United States. What do you think about the threat that some of these countries right now can basically pose against the United States of America by sending some of these terror cells in United States?
Who you want to get the question?
Well, you can.
Gary?
I don't think we have to be surprised, because as I said, they are at war with us. And of course, you know, since they cannot beat the free world in an open battle, they know that there is an overwhelming advantage, both economically and militarily, on the side of freedom today. But there's no political will. And they use all forms of hybrid wars, of the covert operations, and they use every opportunity presented by the weak leadership. And of course, the crisis on the southern border of the United States was a great opportunity. And I can bet you my bottom dollar that out of 7+ million illegal immigrants crossing the border, you know, there are scores of Russian, Iranian, and other spies and agents. Yeah, we should offer a little bit of respect for Putin's KGB and for respect for organizations run by other dictators in Iran and China. So for them to miss such an opportunity. But again, it says, before we discuss concrete measures how to oppose it, we have to recognize simple thing: we're at war. It's a moment to look at this reality and stop, mumbling and just, trying to use the language of political correctness and continuing this endless debate in the United Nations. We are fighting for the survival of democracy, and of course they will attack America. Of course they will attack European countries. They will stop nothing short to cause damage. Again, they cannot win in an open battle, but they can sow the discord. They use our elections to promote their agenda and to divide our society. And again, let's admit, they are successful. So we are again facing this challenge, and the World Liberty Congress is here to amplify the message that it's time to look at this reality and to act. Again, it's not that the free world is lacking resources, but we definitely lacking political will, political resolve. Something that helped to win the World War II against Nazism, and something that secured victory against communism in 1991.
I think my friend from China can address about transnational repression.
Yeah. Hi.
From Tibet.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's a great question. I think first and foremost, it's really crucial for America to recognize that it is actually in America's best interest to have democratization of all of these authoritarian regimes, right? All of the other countries that are supposed threats to America at the moment, the root of the issue is if you actually invest in the stabilization and the securitization and the democratization of Venezuela, of Iran, of all these countries, there would not be that threat. There would be collaboration on democracy, on freedom, on justice, on talking about collaboration on how do we make our countries even better, not how do we pose threats to each other. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, the idea of possible immigrants being terror cells, I think we should not conflate these two ideas. It is crucial that America recognize what its own history is. America was built on the backs of immigrants and slave labor. So with that in mind, the resources that America enjoys at the moment, it's crucial that they invest in allowing immigrants to come in, because there are many of us who are able to come here as political asylums, but not our families. Right? We just heard many of our fellow activists share with us yesterday that they're able to be free, but not their family members, like my sister right here. And so it is crucial that we recognize that America has a responsibility to allow its communities that are suffering asylums to be able to enter. Alongside that, also investing in collaborating with activists like us. We can recognize, we can tell you, within our communities, we have trust. So if you think that there are possible terror cells, the more collaboration there is with our communities, we're able to recognize and collaborate with you about how we can identify those possible dangers in our communities. Cheers.
Holly from Politico. I guess I'll start with Leopoldo on this. Can your organizations, as united as you might be, as coordinated as you might be, can you ultimately really rely on the United States to come through for you, especially given the constantly unpredictable politics here and the economic interests in places like China or in Venezuela? I mean, at the end of the day, can you rely on Washington?
Well, I believe we have to make it clear that it's not just on the interests of Venezuela, of Tibet, of Belarus, or any of the countries that we represent, but it's in the interest of the United States. Because an inch that we lost to autocracy outside the borders of the United States is an inch closer to autocracy in the United States. I believe that the best policy the United States could have for migration is to promote democracy in Venezuela, in Nicaragua, in Cuba, and in many of the other countries where people are fleeing these countries because of the crisis that has been created by autocratic countries.
You're not really answering my question. I mean, I'm asking if you can rely. It's kind of a yes or no question. You know, can you rely on the United States? It sounds like you're saying no.
Yes, and the rest of the international community. It is not just America that is going to lead. But as of right now, when you think about who is the superpower in the world, oftentimes people think about America. In the smallest rural areas of India where I grew up in a refugee settlement camp, we knew who the president of America was. And that was the case that the world that revolves around American politics. And with that in mind, it's crucial that we have America's support. We do rely on America's support. But along with that, we rely on all of the international community's support. We are also in Europe. We started the World Liberty Congress in Lithuania. That's where we started off. So our priorities are clear in terms of where our goal is, and who's going to help us get that goal is one key player is America. But alongside that, there are many other key stakeholders that we're engaging in, and the center of it is actually us, the voices of activists, the people that are impacted, the people that are affected, and folks like all of the international community, including America, and organizations that are currently funding us. All of you folks are stakeholders that are continuing to help us reach that goal. But who's that goal? Not America. The goal is freedom. Goal is clear. It's justice. That's why we're here together, united against dictators.
And if I may get this question as well, beautifully answered. But I want to add that we're not here to ask America to save us. We, the members of World Liberty Congress, are representing the voice of brave activists within our own country. They are calling America to hear us because we are here to save democracy. Clearly, we're not asking American government, Washington, D.C., European government to save us. We want them to stop saving our oppressors. And that's the problem. And that's why we are echoing the voice of political prisoners, not victimizing them because they are the warriors. As you know, you're from Iran. You know Narges Mohammadi. Within the prison, she's not asking America, save us. She says, stop saving the regime of Iran. Stop allowing the members of Revolutionary Guards to come there. Stop allowing the children and relatives of the Ayatollahs traveling here. Stop allowing the officials going to United Nations and criminalize gender apartheid. So for that, I think even we have to reframe the question because the World Liberty Congress, the dissident and activists are trying to get the democracy to be as united as dictators to save democracy because we believe democracy is in recession. And that's why for us, U.S. is an ally, and we believe that we, the people, are better allies compared to these backward dictators to the U.S. government and the rest of the Western European countries.
Yes.
I would say that we're here not to rely on America, but for Washington to rely on us.
We want the United States and all democratic countries to join us in the fight against dictatorships.
That was a very good and challenging question. Thank you. So any other? Yes.
So you have rather ambitious goals, and I want to know what type of resources do you crave, and what's your wish list to accelerate?
Is to understand that this is a challenge that it's not just our challenge, it's a challenge of those who believe in democracy. And what do we need? We need different levels of support in order to grow this network, in order to incorporate more activists, in order to incorporate more movements, in order to speak out effectively, in order to be capable to reach out and provide support to people who are in our countries struggling for freedom. We hope to get the support of those who believe in democracy, and we're talking about governments, as Masi and Karin had just said, but also philanthropists, also organizations that have in their mission statement democracy and freedom, but many of them only identify the problem, but don't do much about the problem. This is an alliance of men and women who are willing to put their lives at risk. In this table, we have people that all of us have either been in prison or immediate relatives have been in prison. In this room, you have more than 20 people that have either been in prison or their immediate families have been in prison. So, as Masi said, we are willing to take all of the risks to promote and defend democracy, but we need the support of those of anybody, organizations and governments who are willing to put resources, efforts, brain power, and communication to make this a fight of all and to win the transition towards democracy.
Can I add a very selfish goal as well? As a young person, we have Freedom Academy, and Felix has just presented this ambitious plan of Freedom Academy, you know, expanding all across Latin America and Africa. And I come as a product of Students for Free Tibet's training of nonviolent strategic action, and I want that to happen in Asia too. But there's not enough funds. And so that calls for the international community to also invest in us. Put your money where your mouth is. We want those funds so that we can not just train youth activists in Latin America and in Africa, which is happening and is going to happen by the end of this year. We have, 2,000 trainers? And so we want to have even more. We want thousands of trainers in training in Asia as well, so that we can expand. And not just in Asia, we talked about the need for it in Europe, right? Given the war right now, it's crucial that we activate and motivate and engage young people all across the world so that we don't see a decline in voting. We don't see a decline of interest in young people in politics. We want to see more of that. And so that can be done with your money. So put your money where your mouth is, international community.
Anybody else?
Yes, we want to be a resource for activists. And we, for this, for example, for the case of political prisoners, we've created a handbook to guide other families who are struggling through this, who are working to advocate for the freedom of their family members. And we want to work with them to help them get to freedom. And so through this handbook, which provides very specific guides on how to navigate the diplomatic corridors, how to navigate the media, how to put the necessary pressures on this autocratic regime so that they, in fact, release the political prisoners. And in the case of my father, he was freed after 2.5 years of imprisonment. And this is because of the work of all the activists in these organizations who came together and put their resources together to help to fight for freedom. And so we want to be that resource for all activists who are fighting for freedom.
So I'm a little bit ambitious. I have another suggestion. We are planning to have our third General Assembly in a city which can be symbolic and historical, in the city of Hague, where we can show the rest of the world that we are here to take Putin, Maduro, Khamenei, Xi, and all the dictators in international court and be witness while they're being accountable. So if anyone can help us to get the dictators to international court, we welcome them. Especially we have an amazing woman. She lost her job, her career. I want you to stand up because her husband is in prison. She lost her job. She dedicated her life. But
I quit.
Yes, I love you. Thank you so much. And she said, because I don't want to be a victim and I don't want to just fight to get my husband from prison. I want to get the dictators of my country and other authoritarian regime to international court. So as I said, Alexei Navalny, Narges Mohammadi, I want to name all the political prisoners. Last night there were the wife of Vladimir Karamazov was with us. So there are many political prisoners in Africa, in Iran, in Afghanistan, Belarus, Russia, China, everywhere. They are not victims. They're not just fighting for their own life. So they need your support and help to get those oppressors in international court. So this is one thing that I think if anyone want to help to protect democracy or the family of political prisoners, they can put their resource on that. No more questions?
Yeah, I'll take another one. You know, one of the challenges of opposition groups is like a lack of unity and a lack of coordination in fighting. It's kind of insane sometimes. How do you folks plan to avoid those traps that the regime so often can exploit?
So it's very clear that autocrats know that when they divide, they can conquer. And they do that with all of the democratic movements in all of our countries. And one of the things that we have learned from each other is that there is not a single country under autocratic regime where there are no tensions within the democratic movements. It's just a norm because this is promoted by the dictators. They invest resources in dividing. And when we understand that this is not a particular problem for each one of our countries, but it's part of a pattern, we can take a different look at the problem. And we recognize that nobody has the monopoly of the voice for democracy and freedom in any of our countries. So one of the things that we are doing with the World Liberty Congress is to invite the diversity of the different voices that are opposing these regimes. And the World Liberty Congress has become already a space where we have diversity within the representation of each one of the countries. So we've had events with the Freedom Academy where we have participants from the different political groups of each one of the countries. And the Freedom Academy of the Liberty Congress becomes a space where they can talk, where they can think together, where they can collaborate. So this is a problem that needs to be addressed by recognizing it, and the World Liberty Congress has become already a space to articulate the differences within the opposition movements of all of our countries. And this is something that we also hope that we get the collaboration from the different organizations that are working with opposition groups within our countries to recognize that these divisions are just part of the day-to-day, but there are ways of addressing them if we have a space where people can come together. And we have done this in many countries already. And we have already seen great advances and great collaboration amongst different opposition groups in the countries that are within the Liberty Congress.
So I think we're done. And thank you so much, everyone.
Zala would like to speak about her father. Would you like to, Zala?
There one more question as well.
Okay.
Hello. I guess you have seen me giving you some brochures around. Thank you for this opportunity. I do want to speak my father, but I also want to address some questions that has been asked, actually. My father, Dr. Gubari Badolu, he is actually been a professor at Rutgers University in New Jersey. He also taught in UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, Kansas University. Before he's been detained, he was a professor at London School of Economics. So he's quite well-known economist around the world. He has been working on the oil and gas industry, its environmental effect and transparency.
From Azerbaijan.
Yes, from Azerbaijan. Now my flag is there. I'm not representing it in UN or any place. I'm representing it here. He's been tortured, he can't walk, and all the stuff that you probably is aware of from different cases. But the one thing that is very important for me to be here is that we hear a lot of news, first of all, about political prisoners, how they're like 200 from this country or 300 from that country. But that's not the case. They're humans. They're families like me who are behind them, who's been going around and just trying to talk to anybody that doesn't matter who they are, but to be able to talk to somebody. This platform is important because I, for example, I don't really have anybody from my country to hold my hand and to take me to places. Our opposition, our people abroad has been quite segregated from each other, and everybody's scared, everybody's afraid of each other. Like, I know that you don't really hear about Azerbaijan a lot because it's considered a good dictator, but it has been one of the biggest countries, has been helping Russian gas to be sold to EU. The biggest importer for Azerbaijan is Russia, because basically we're helping Russia to extract all the mineral resources and sell for them to European countries, to US, to UK. So, and it has always like the worst human rights kind of ranking than a lot of countries that you already know. But the reason that it's important for me here, because that now I have like a community to can actually hold my hand and take me to places. First time when I saw that Masih Ali-Nejad taking somebody from Iran to Munich Security Conference, I was like, I want that, you know? I want somebody to help me. I don't want to be alone. And it's quite clear that I cannot now start a big movement and unite my country. This is not something in my capacity, but I can at least talk to people like me from different places and different countries. We always talk about these big goals. Getting rid of Ilham Aliyev, in our case, from Azerbaijan. But the goal for us is, the biggest goal is for us to live in peace and security. Like, it's just such a simple thing, you know? Like, we think that these countries are isolated and they're there. This Azerbaijan, small country, nobody cares. That's not the case. Right now, EU is trying to connect its electricity to Azerbaijan. That means that Azerbaijan can just shut it off anytime they want and shut it on anytime they want. You know, this is not like we are isolated countries. Your countries are working with us, our country. You are making yourself dependent from our country in terms of oil, gas, green energy, like everything. And that's not only not helping us, because then Aliyev gets a lot more money to torture us, you know, or corrupt your people. Like, for example, there's like senators or congressmen who have been corrupted by Azerbaijani government. That has been actually covered by Azerbaijani media, but not American media, because there's not enough interest. We have, in our advocacy work, we have seen congressmen who has glasses that has Azerbaijan on it, advertised, and giving water on that glasses to us, while our father is dying there. So this
we are here to be your voice.
Yes.
So.
And these things are happening, and this is very important to know that this is not only about us, this is also about your countries. And as much as it affects us, it's going to affect your countries. My little brother, he's a student at Rutgers University. He was living in the shared apartment with other American students, American-born students, and his room has been ransacked. And it's now under FBI investigation, only his room. So his documents were stolen, his letters were opened. And this happened in a house, but not only my little brother is living, but also other Americans are living. Mm-hmm. This affects every one of us. Mm-hmm. And this is a very good place for that.
Thank you so much, and how ironic. She's coming from Azerbaijan. Last month, the FBI actually exposed the news that the person who was hired by the Islamic Republic to assassinate me, to kill me on New York, was from Azerbaijan. And we are together. So our dictators are helping each other, so we are together. That's the message that we have to leave from this room. And thank you so much, everyone. We're going to be available out there for individual questions. Thank you.